Have you found the target? Not the one I pointed at while running. He's shooting at me. What a conundrum. Morgan quickly whipped out his knife to save the little guy. They returned to the shore. All right, let's go. Was that a joke? Morgan urgently needs the antidote, or he risks death if the drug affects his nervous system. The group split into two. The bearded man took him back for treatment. The tall ones crossed the 1.6 km swamp. Walter and May stayed to find the box, but Morgan, the strongest, had left. How on earth is he going to snag that can from a crocodile's jaws? Walter suddenly remembered a plant named vomit grass that could coax the croc to cough up the can. It usually grows in swamps. And little May rushed off to find it. Meanwhile, the little guy was struggling. Terminator size was like a mountain to him, and he decided to fetch the antidote alone, but expect the unexpected. A scream. Morgan, pumped up, rushed over and found the mustache man stuck in quicksand. He grabbed a stick, but weak from the sedative, he had no strength. He couldn't pull the mustache out. In crisis, he saw nearby stones, and knew quicksand often hides live water. It might lead to that stone. So he asked Morgan to grab some stones, and if they were heavy enough, they'd sink fast enough for the little guy to escape before his dance. Minutes later, Morgan finally showed up. The poor little guy was sinking fast, but thankfully at just the right moment. The sedative took effect. Morgan fell into quicksand. That's heavy. The mustache man had to make a feeble try. Soon, both appeared by the stone. Cool water briefly snapped Morgan to reality. They reached the roadside, but Dr. Lai was nowhere. Ghosted again? Then, an engine roared nearby. Dr. Lai arrived. Morgan escaped danger. Meanwhile, Walter and little May got the vomit grass. They stuffed it into a chicken for bait and attached a GPS watch to it before heave-hoing it into the water. The seagull gulped it down. Now all they had to do was wait. Time ticked away as they counted down the 4 minutes before the mosquito would suffocate. Was this viral nightmare truly? They closely watched the GPS area. Soon, the can surfaced. Walter drove the boat over. But he was so fixated on the can, he didn't see the obstacle, and little May got tossed into the water. He yelled for Walter to reverse. I'll grab the can myself. Little did he know, danger was already knocking at his door. Peter, look out. There's a croc behind you. The duo's crazy plan absolutely enraged the seagull. Today, it was mechanically bow. Hearing this, said the boats could reach 70 minutes 80 km/h. Subtitles, the croc maxes at 32 km/h. Walter grabbed the rope and tied it to the boat. The other end was tossed to little May, and as the croc charged, she got safely rescued. They rushed to the mosquito drop zone just in time to release the sterile males, which would deliver a deadly blow to those virus-carrying females. Scorpion team lived to tell the tale. They saved countless lives yet again, but an F-130 warplane got hacked and aimed at their teammate, who got blown up on the spot. See talk about a rough day. Scorpion team ironically witnessed this chaos. To mitigate losses, mechanically set up a remote laser guidance system in the perfect spot. They took him aboard and mechanically installed a remote laser guidance system, directing the pilot for a vertical warplane landing. He aimed the laser at the front of the plane and uploaded the files to regain control. The plane was back in business, but this crisis was just the tip of the iceberg, folks. A hacker force targeting Country Ugly was upon them. Since they controlled countless planes and warships, Country Ugly had no choice but to shut down all defense systems, including nuclear. If they got attacked now, the results would be catastrophic. An admiral found the Scorpion team for help and spilled all the tea. The little guy was shocked. He guessed that the warplane incident was just the beginning. Sure enough, 4 warships were soon hacked and positioned to encircle the coast. Nearby cities also felt the risk. As they strategized, little May suddenly wondered, could they be eavesdropping on us? The little guy had a light bulb moment. See, they surely couldn't understand English. Otherwise, with their confidence, they'd surely retake F-130 and surround the territory with 4 destroyers. This meant these hackers were probably all 18 to 25, because let's face it, young people love proving themselves. The little guy deduced they are from Eastern Europe. Their parents endured the Cold War. These youngsters grew up on tales of Country Ugly's war machine, so what better way to prove their chops than knocking out Country Ugly's defense system? Their aim, defeat Ugly Country's defense. Impressive, the psychologist narrowed it down in a few words. Crew swiftly monitored network activity from Eastern Europe and soon pinpointed the targets to Bulgaria, where they'd hacked a military base to control planes and warships. Everyone split up. Morgan and the team flew to Bulgaria to nab the hackers, while Walter headed to the hijacked military base. Walter arrived at the hidden military base in the city and got to work on the servers. Just needed that progress bar to finish to regain control, but surprise! A warship automatically launched a missile right at Walter's building. Talk about a classic case of him so done with. They hurried to escape, but the elevator was too slow. Walter axed open the door and coated his hands with clay. This would minimize the friction, and then they jumped down, sliding down the rope, sparks flying from their hands like fireworks. Just as they hit the ground, the missile struck the building. Thankfully, it was a close call. Walter grabbed his axe and hacked open the door again. Just as he sent Little May up, the elevator track snapped. Walter and Little May narrowly avoided disaster as chaos continued. The Admiral got in touch. They lost contact with an Ohio-class submarine, likely hacked. They needed to track down that nuke in a hurry. Walter proposed regaining destroyer control. His sonar could swiftly locate underwater targets. Subtitles: The destroyer is hacked. Approaching means destruction. Liu suggested a metal rain.